And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, the election is just 89 days away. So is it time now for Republicans who refuse to endorse Donald Trump? Are they now sabotaging his campaign? Because if they continue to do what they're doing and Hillary Clinton wins, will they be responsible for supporting Hillary Clinton's radical left-wing agenda? Now, these are the people I'm talking about. Time to name names. Bill Kristol, former Governor Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, Ben Sasse, Lindsey Graham, Meg Whitman, and many, many others. Now, if they keep up their stubborn, their stupid game and continue to lick their wounds, well, this is what they will be responsible for, just to give a few examples. Of course, that would be the continuation of President Obama's disastrous economic policies. And did any of them happen to listen to Trump's speech? Do any see that we've now doubled our debt? We have the lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, lowest home ownership rate in 41 years, the worst recovery since the 1940s. Clinton will simply continue that failed economic agenda of Obama. And, of course, there's Obamacare. Now, Donald Trump told me last night he will repeal and replace it and have competition. Clinton will keep it. Open borders. Trump promises a wall. Clinton wants open borders. So which is better for national security and the American worker? Now, the refusal to use the term radical Islam. Donald Trump will mention it. Liberal Supreme Court justices versus the originalists that Donald Trump has said that he will support. He wants people like Scalia and Clarence Thomas on the bench. On this one issue alone, this will impact this country for generations to come. Hillary, of course, wants a 550% increase in unvetted refugees. Trump promises to vet them all, or else not let them in. Top-down Common Core education, that's failing. Hillary would continue that. We have a dilapidated military. Trump will improve the military and rebuild it, and the list goes on. So by refusing to support Trump, it seems they're effectively supporting a woman who has proven time and time again that she is a liar and a corrupt politician. For example, just out today, newly released emails prove yet again that the State Department was in fact colluding with the Clinton Foundation during Hillary's tenure as Secretary of State. The New York Post, they summed it up best by writing, quote, Hillary Clinton put the State Department up for sale with top aides pulling strings and doing favors for fat cat donors to the Clinton Foundation, including a shady billionaire, according to smoking gun emails that were released Tuesday. But wait, there's a lot more. Clinton continually lied about what she knew and when she knew it about the Benghazi terror attack. So much so that the parents of 2 Americans killed during that attack, they are now suing her for wrongful death and defamation. And let's not forget when FBI Director James Comey had this very interesting exchange with Congressman Trey Gowdy about Hillary Clinton's veracity on a private email server scandal.
Secretary Clinton said there was nothing marked classified on her emails, either sent or received. Was that true?
That's not true. There were a small number of portion markings on, I think, 3 of the documents.
Secretary Clinton said, I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
There was classified material emailed.
Secretary Clinton said she used just one device. Was that true?
She used multiple devices during the 4 years of her term as Secretary of State.
Secretary Clinton said all work-related emails were returned to the State Department. Was that true?
No, we found work-related emails, thousands, that were not returned.
Secretary Clinton said her lawyers read every one of the emails and were overly inclusive. Did her lawyers read the email content individually?
No.
I'll get my point. All you stubborn Republicans out there, Hillary Clinton, well, she's proven she does not have the character. She does not have the temperament to be the president of the United States. So is that the person these Republican crybabies really want to be the next commander-in-chief? They want to help her? It's very disturbing, and it's disgusting, and it's fairly dangerous. Here with reaction, the editor-in-chief of LifeZet.com, Fox News contributor, and nationally syndicated radio talk show host Laura Ingraham. Laura, are they sabotaging him? Is it having an impact?
Well, they're clearly cheerleading Hillary Clinton. There's no doubt about it, Sean. The senators like Susan Collins and so forth who aren't officially endorsing Hillary Clinton really are without explicitly doing so. All these people who are supporting, Gary Johnson or the Stein woman or this McMuffin or whatever is the McMullen, whatever his name is, Evan McMullen, they know they're not going to win. And they want to supposedly feel like cleansed of the sin of voting for Donald Trump. And you laid out, with excruciating detail, just a few of the reasons why Hillary Clinton would be disastrous for this country. And I would make the argument, I think very persuasively as well, Sean, that if you call yourself a conservative and a Republican, it's actually immoral not to vote for Donald Trump, if only for the reason of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will outlive us. This generation of jurists and its effect on our lives, our daily lives, our children, our grandchildren, will well outlive this generation. And so they're willing to sacrifice all of that so they can have some "see, I told you so" moment from the sidelines. I mean, that's selfish.
I agree, and think of how profound it is on Obamacare. Think about energy independence. Think about rebuilding our military. You mentioned the court on that one issue alone. Identifying ISIS and not identifying ISIS is a pretty big deal, considering things going on in the world. Let me ask you this. What is your take? I'm going to run through a series. We'll play some comments. I'll read some comments to you. Because over the years, Democrats themselves have suggested that they want Republicans to die, including presidents. And I want to get to
us. Sean, what do you mean, including us? Like, they wished we died. I mean,
Obama once said, well, I'll send this guy, Mr. Burgess, over to Fox News, and he'll tear Sean Hannity up. Should I have reported Obama to the police?
That was a badge of honor for you, Sean.
Yeah, I did. I played it over and over again. I'm like, I'm a brown belt now. I'm ready. I can handle it.
I'm not worried about you versus the Obama people. You're okay.
All right. So Elizabeth Warren, let's play Elizabeth Warren saying she just hopes Trump would disappear. Does that mean she wants him dead?
Am I right to perceive that you enjoy fighting with Donald Trump?
No, you're absolutely wrong about that. I wish Donald Trump would just disappear. Donald Trump would be a danger to the United States. This man should never be allowed to come within miles of the White House.
And then Hillary Clinton suggested in 2008 that, she's not dropping out. Maybe Obama could be assassinated like Robert Kennedy.
There has been this urgency to end this. And, historically that makes no sense. My husband did not wrap up the nomination in 1992 until he won the California primary somewhere in the middle of June, right? We all remember Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in June in California.
Then we got this cut of Obama saying, well, if they bring a knife, we're going to bring a gun. Because from what I understand, folks in Philly like a really good brawl. I've seen Eagle fan, and Joe Biden once said, I guarantee you Barack Obama ain't taking my shotguns, so don't buy that malarkey. Crazy Uncle Joe said this. They're going to start peddling you. I got two. If he tries to fool with my Beretta, he's got a big problem. Oh. Then John Kerry was on with Bill Maher talking about killing George W. Bush.
But what'd you get her this year for her birthday?
Actually, we ran away to a wonderful retreat in Vermont, and that was our sort of getaway.
You could have went to New Hampshire and killed two birds with one stone.
Could have gone to 1600 Pennsylvania and killed the real bird with one stone.
Oh, so they actually make real threats. I got it.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, if Trump or any Trump person had ever said any of these things, they would be using this in the current news cycle. Well, we know what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on. Hillary Clinton simply is unable to defend her record, the current abysmal economy, which is basically in stagnant growth and median income stagnating for really the last 15 years. They have no tricks left in their bag of tricks for the economy. Zero. We know we're in decline. We know China is on the rise. And they are simply out of answers. So what they're going to do day in and day out is they're going to say, look at this shiny little object over here, media. And then the media, as the willing supplicants that they are, rush over to that story and then dwell on that for, 24 hours. Meanwhile, we have this terrorist father sitting behind Hillary Clinton at a speech, and it's a big yawn from the mainstream media. Or I know as you're talking about these emails, which show the utter corruption in the State Department as connected to the Clinton Global Initiative, which I knew all along these emails would demonstrate. I know you are, but that should be the focus of the media's inquiry
the media's
today.
Corrupt. It's like it's 3-on-1. I mean,
it's Hillary's media.
We're also getting into tonight. All right, so a woman was raped when she was 12 years old. Hillary Clinton, we've got the tapes. I'm going to play them later in the show. I just don't have enough time in this segment. Brags about, I had him take a polygraph. She was the attorney. which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs, bragging, laughing, proud of the fact she got a guy off on a technicality that she's admitting was guilty, and she also smeared this poor girl, of raping a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah, it just shows you
What
again.
If that was Donald Trump?
Yeah. Oh, no, no. I mean, again, the feminists, it shows you that the feminists really don't care about actual people. They care about the right to abort people. So actual victims, whether it's Bill Clinton's victims or in this case through her defense work, you know, Hillary's victims, they don't care. They don't care about these people. They don't care about actual women who are trying to pay the bills. They care about power. They care about federal control of state, you know, prerogatives. They do not actually care about real people. It's the power, it's the moment, it's the domination, and all these other people are pawns in their game. And so for all of these never Trumpers, you know, sitting on the sidelines and, you know, they feel very gleeful now, they are going to have responsibility in November if they're the ones who end up making this election
I'm going to blame them for Hillary's Supreme Court choices if she wins.
I don't want to hear any complaints from them.
I actually think Trump... Everybody, anyone that's calling this race now knows nothing about politics.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Well,
right.
Panic is so unsexy, Sean.
Okay. Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right. Good to see you. And coming up, Donald Trump calls out Hillary Clinton after new emails reveal the State Department colluded with the Clinton Foundation. Trump's running mate, Indiana Governor Mike Pence, is here to respond in a Hannity exclusive. And then later, those questions do continue to swirl about Hillary Clinton's health records. Should the campaign release all of her medical records so voters can decide? Our medical experts weigh in. And also that story we were just talking about. Why did she defend a man that she thought was guilty of raping a 12-year-old girl? Tonight.
It came out that her people pay for play. And very big stories today. The problem is it'll be big stories for about 2 minutes, and then they're going to drop it because the media is so totally dishonest. So totally. But this was big stuff. Pay for play. It's illegal. I mean, it's illegal. And we'll see what happens with it, folks. We'll see what happens with it. But it's very serious stuff. It's very, very serious.
That was 2016 GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump earlier today talking about Hillary Clinton's shocking pay-to-play scheme between the State Department and, of course, the Clinton Foundation. Now, it was revealed yesterday in newly released emails. And now here with Reaction 2016, Republican vice presidential nominee. He is the governor of the great state of Indiana, Governor Mike Pence. Sir, how are you?
I'm good, Sean. Thanks for having me on.
Let's start with the pay-to-play and the new revelations. I mean, it's obvious these emails, by the way, weren't they supposed to be handed over a long time ago? And
right.
She deleted 33,000 others. Nobody has any idea what's in them. But this specifically, those people that donated and were part of this organization got access, special access that nobody else would get. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think what we see here is direct evidence that major foreign donors were being given favors and opportunities by officials at the State Department. It is, as you just heard Donald Trump say, it is a textbook example of the kind of pay-to-play politics that the American people are tired of in Washington, D.C. And I promise you, when Donald Trump and I head to the White House this January, we're going to put this pay-to-play special interest politics to an end once and for all.
Let's talk about the coverage of Donald Trump's comments about Second Amendment supporters and the media reaction to this.
Well, it's just incredibly frustrating, but it's also telling to see the way the media has the capacity to major in the minors, to take a comment as they did, and take it all the way to the cable airwaves and make a controversy when, in the very same week, the father of the terrorist who took 49 lives in Orlando attended a Hillary Clinton rally, was on television for more than an hour, said later to the press that he was there because he thought Hillary Clinton was, quote, good on national security, and that got a fraction of the attention that was paid to statements that Donald Trump made in support of the Second Amendment and in support of people that advocate for it. So it just shows you what we're up against. But as I said here in Dayton today, you know, it's 2-on-1. The media is going to continue to do half of Hillary's work for her. But the amazing thing is, from the crowds that we've seen as I campaign around, the enormous crowds around Donald Trump, the American people are rallying to his message.
But, you know,
they're rallying
I have
to his
some figures
candor,
on this.
and I believe we're going to rally all the way to victory this fall.
Media research points out that CBS, NBC, ABC, they covered this issue of Donald Trump's comments 5 times more than the father of a terrorist who supports the Taliban is against gays and lesbians, and 5 times more coverage, and she wouldn't even denounce him when asked to, and it took, what, 36 hours for her to finally get there. And just like she takes money from Saudi Arabia, the Clinton Foundation does, they abuse women, they kill gays and lesbians, they persecute Christians and Jews. And they took up to $25 million for the Clinton Foundation, $10 million for the Clinton Library. Most Americans don't hear about that part. So what does that say about the media? What does it say about her?
Well, it just says the media is overwhelmingly biased in favor of electing Hillary Clinton as the next president of the United States. But I have to tell you, the connection that Donald Trump has made to people all across this country from every background is amazing to behold at these rallies. I think people are seeing through the media bias. They're ignoring it because they really do hear in Donald Trump the kind of message that will rebuild our military, have America standing strong in the world, release the full potential of the American economy, and maybe most important of all, make sure that the next president making appointments to the Supreme Court of the United States will appoint conservative justices who will uphold our Second Amendment and all of the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution.
You know, I think all of that's important. I've been making a big deal. I just made an opening statement tonight about those Republicans, especially those that ran for president, like John Kasich and Jeb Bush and Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, for example. They made a promise. They made a pledge. They'd support the eventual nominee. Do you believe that those Republicans, you can add to it Susan Collins, et cetera, do you think they're sabotaging or trying or attempting to sabotaging your campaign, Donald Trump's campaign? Why would they do that? And aren't they helping Hillary?
Well, look, it was a tough primary, and I understand competitive politics can impact relationships. We're just going to continue to work hard, and we are going to continue to see this party coming together. You know, I was in Dayton earlier today and, you know, met with a number of prominent members of Congress who were there, Congressman Mike Turner, former mayor of Dayton and a prominent member of the Armed Services Committee. You know, we're getting support from members of Congress literally all over this country. Those that are expressing their support aren't getting nearly as much attention to the folks who from time to time say that they're not there or not there yet. But that just is what it is. But I tell people, whether it be my friend Governor John Kasich here in Ohio or others, we're just going to continue to put out a message of real change in Washington, D.C., and we're going to work hard to earn the support of not just all those leaders, but we're going to continue to earn the ever-widening support of everyday Americans who know we can make America great again.
You know, it's interesting on the double standard side because, you know, Hillary Clinton in 08 said, you know, well, Robert Kennedy was killed in June and made a comment, and it was perceived by others to be a little bit of a veiled threat against Barack Obama. You know, you have people like somebody like, the president, Obama in this case, talking about punishing our enemies. I don't know whose ass to kick. He actually said that. We'll send Mr. Burgess over to Fox News to tear Sean Hannity up. He actually said that, President Obama, when he was running. And, you know, if they bring a knife, we'll bring a gun. John Kerry talking about on Bill Maher the possibility of actually, you know, killing President Bush at the time, or the threats to Dan Quayle, your fellow Hoosier, that, Secret Service has orders that, you know, if anything happens to the president, shoot to kill. If you remember those comments. And then all of this is about Donald Trump. That standard, you said it's 2-on-1. You think it's that bad? You think they're that in the tank, the media, for Hillary?
I think it's amazing. If you look at what Brent Bozell and the Media Research Center came out with just this week. I mean, Hillary Clinton has the father of a terrorist who just took the lives of 49 members of the LGBT community in Orlando in a horrific terrorist attack at her rally on television, there to support her. And it takes her literally, almost an entire day to denounce him. And that gets scant media coverage compared to Donald Trump simply calling on Second Amendment supporters across the country to exercise their right as voters and exercise their rights as citizens in the democratic process to stand up for the Second Amendment. But look, my late father used to say, it is what it is. But the amazing thing is, even 2-on-1, I got to tell you, we're winning hearts and minds every day.
Do you feel good about the polls right now? They seem to be coming
Sean.
back. In the last 2 days, you had 2 polls that have come out that seem that it's now tightening again.
Well, of course it is, but what I feel most excited about, like in Dayton earlier today, is just the enthusiasm, the passion people have. The Democrats are telling us this is the best we can do in America, at home and abroad, and they know it's just the best they can do. That we can do better, but it's going to take new leadership, a change of direction, and the enthusiasm out on the rope line, the enthusiasm as Donald Trump and I are traveling the country is amazing.
Do you think that, knowing that there's a double standard, and I agree with your premise as it relates to the coverage of Hillary versus Donald Trump, do you think, knowing that maybe he needs to have more discipline, in the sense that don't give them an opening, be more careful, maybe use the teleprompter more?
I think Donald Trump gave a great speech this week in Detroit, and I had the opportunity to introduce him there. He laid out an economic plan. Next week, there's going to be another major policy address coming. You're going to see this campaign laying out a specific policy agenda in the weeks ahead, building on what we've done already, and that's going to continue to happen. But make no mistake about it, the contrast between a man who speaks his heart and his mind with candor versus Hillary Clinton, the hedging and the obfuscations and the untruths. I think the American people welcome Donald Trump's candor. That's a part of who he is. And I look forward to campaigning with him every day and running through the tape to a great victory this fall.
All right, Governor, good to see you. Thank you. We'll see you out on the campaign trail. Appreciate it. And coming up, back in 1975, Hillary Clinton, she defended a man accused of raping a 12-year-old girl. The DailyMail.com has reportedly tracked the woman down, the victim down, who is now speaking out and slamming Hillary. We'll check in with Sheriff David Clark, Rick Grinnell, and Kellyanne Conway. They'll respond. And then later, questions are... Welcome back to Hannity. So in 1975, Hillary Clinton, then a public defense attorney, she defended a 41-year-old man that was accused of raping a 12-year-old girl. Now, in the 1980s, Clinton proudly talked about the experience, kind of bragged about it, and kind of let on that she knew he was guilty. Watch this.
Remember that case where I represented that guy? It was a fascinating case. It was a really interesting case. This guy was accused of raping a 12-year-old. He took a lie detector test. I had to take a polygraph, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs.
How did it turn out?
Oh, he plea bargained. We got him off. It was time served in the county jail. He was in the county jail about 2 months.
Now, years later, DailyMail.com allegedly tracked down the 12-year-old victim. Her name's Kathy Shelton. Now, here's what she has to say about Hillary Clinton. Watch this.
It would be very hard for me not to walk up and smack her. I know that sounds mean. I mean, she put me through a lot at 12 years old. I mean, I had to go look through this window and ID these guys. I just want to know, you got a daughter and a grandbaby. What happens if that daughter of yours, if that would have been her, and they pulled you in at that time to do that? What would you done? You would have protected her. It's horrible, because she's supposed to be for women and children, and here she is saying, well, I know they did it, but I defended them anyway. And I think she got them both off on the technicality of losing something. And she lost it on purpose. It wasn't lost. How could all this stuff get lost all of a sudden? I tried to get the hospital records, and they supposedly have been lost in a flood. And as you have told me, you tried to get the police report, and it was lost in a flood. Supposedly that's what happened to this, too. Remember, girls, I think she's lying. I think she's doing anything she can to get in the campaign and win.
Here with reaction, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, Fox News contributor Rick Grinnell, and Trump campaign advisor Postal Kellyanne Conway. Here's the very disturbing part. Forget about, she's now talking, all right, that's separate and apart, but this interview she gives to me is the bigger deal. It's not this interview. because she actually said, oh, I had the guy take a polygraph test, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in a polygraph.
She's talking about the polygraph, not the victim, who was 12 years old.
She's talking about believing that he's guilty.
That's right.
And working to get him off what would have been a 30-year sentence, which she succeeded at.
She was very proud of her skill. Sean, let's make Kathy Shelton a household name. If this woman has so courageously come forward to tell her story, and Hillary Clinton is trying to get to the White House on her, quote, record that I can't find, her phantom record on helping women and children, and yet this girl was a child, 12 years old, and let's go over the facts for a moment. She had accused this man of rape. Hillary Clinton, as the public defender, had this girl, she made her relive the entire episode, submitted her to psychiatric evaluation, and then said she was, quote, seeking out older men. This is also the Hillary Clinton.
12-year-old girl.
12-year-old girl. That is a girl. You've had one, I have them. That is a girl, and she re-victimized her. And I'm so tired of hearing how Hillary Clinton is an advocate for women and children, that the entire DNC theme was what? She never stops fighting for women. She never stops fighting for children. By the way, where's the evidence of that? You've got all these millions of women in poverty and their children in poverty. But when it comes to the people like Kathy Shelton, she re-victimized her, and I think people should really focus on that.
You know, and several points during the tape of Hillary, again, I'm focused more on the Hillary tape here, Sheriff. She's laughing at the most inappropriate moments. Oh, at the crime lab's accidental destruction of DNA evidence, which is believed had semen and blood of the man that was accused, that eventually she got off, that she thought did it.
Sean, Mrs. Bill Clinton is morally bankrupt. I think America's starting to understand that. First of all, I want to commend that victim for having the courage to want to relive this thing in a very public fashion. But for Mrs. Bill Clinton to sit up there, now she was a defense attorney at the time. She's supposed to defend her client. We all get that. But for her to blame a 12-year-old girl as being the sexual aggressor was disgusting. Look, we do everything that we can to protect victims of rape in these court proceedings, and we put them through as little as we have to get a conviction. But to go out there and do what she did, to trash them, I guess she was looking down the road because she's been defending the sexual predator nature of her husband and the sexual assault allegations against her husband, Bill Clinton, for a long time. And she's done the same thing, trash the reputation of the victim. That is reprehensible.
What's your reaction, Rick?
Look, I think this is a big theme of Hillary Clinton. She will literally lie and do anything for personal gain. It doesn't matter if it's an individual who is 12 years old, who is standing between her and a successful legal case, or the American people who she can constantly look at us and lie to us about sending classified information. This is a lifelong theme of both of them, both the Clintons, who absolutely have looked at the American people on two different occasions when we were in crisis over what they had done, and they look at us and they lie. This is a absolute tagline of lying Hillary that is extremely accurate from the beginning of her career.
She's very cavalier. She's cackling.
She's laughing and bragging and saying, look, if I was a lawyer, and everyone has the right to a defense, but I don't have to be a lawyer. And if I think you're guilty of raping a 12-year-old girl, and I think I could use my capacity as a great attorney to get you off, I'm not doing that for anybody.
Well,
ever.
Yeah, the tape makes it sound like it's all in a day's work for her, Sean, and that it's just one more notch on her ladder to power eventually. Bragging about her skills, being very cavalier towards the victim, and I actually think going a little too far in puffing herself up. You know, sometimes there are tragedies and there's nothing to do about it, but here I feel like she's pretty complicit. And let me just add one more thing. When she was Secretary of State, women in the office were paid 72 cents for every male dollar. You look at what happened with the Clinton Foundation in Haiti. I mean, she's constantly telling groups of voters that Donald Trump is bad for you and I will protect you. And the evidence is elsewise, whether it's women who are 12 years old as rape victims or the people of Haiti who are waiting for billions of dollars in relief that never came.
Or the women that were victimized by Bill Clinton's smeared, slandered.
Sean, let's not forget the 600 girls who were raped and kidnapped by Boko Haram.
All right. Thank you all for being with us. Coming up. Major concerns raised about Hillary Clinton's health. Is she fit to serve? Is she trying to hide something? Our panel of medical experts weigh in, and also later tonight.
He was talking about the election in general. He wasn't talking just about after the election. You know how speeches go. He was talking about how they have the power to keep her out of office. That's what he was talking about.
Rudy Giuliani pushing back against the mainstream media attacks on Donald Trump over comments he made about Second Amendment supporters. That and more tonight as we continue. Welcome back to Hannity. So questions continue to swirl about Hillary Clinton's health and if she is fit to serve as president of the United States. Now, the mainstream media has yet to ask Clinton about it, and her campaign is dismissing concerns that are being raised as partisan attacks. So should the Clinton campaign release to the public Hillary's full medical records so that it will ease voters' concerns? Here with reaction from the Fox News Medical A-Team, Dr. Mark Siegel, and neurologist at North Shore Brain and Spine Center, Dr. Fiona Gupta, is with us. All right, let me ask you this. I want to show all of you the coughing fits, the 2011 fall. She sort of has a brain freeze, and then this other reaction. One was in April, one was in June. Just to take a look at some of the things that people are talking about.
Represent inmates. Excuse me. Too much to say.
You do talk a lot in this campaign. Excuse me, just 1 second here. A lozenge.
Now, by the way, this is 2011 when she falls, but those coughing fits go on for a very long period of time. And the coughing fits in particular are something that have garnered a lot of attention because there have been many of them, and she can't get out of them. Anyway, that's the fall from 2011. And we also have this other video, one, of course, from April and the other one from June. But, you know, I feel bad when somebody falls, but there are also two pictures of people propping her up as well. Let's go to these other images with both of this year, April and June.
We do not need another big contentious debate about health care. We need to make what we've got work really well and improve it and get the costs out of an upward spiral. Now, I want to mention two other things.
Wonderful, meaningful endorsement in every way, and I was very proud to have it.
Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities with Senator Warren?
You guys have got to try the cold chai.
I've had it.
It is delicious.
All right, that last one in particular is so odd to me. What's your take?
You know, it's just so hard to speculate based on snippets of the clips that, you know, what is going on without having a full examination
but
and workup.
Look at this video right here. Watch her reaction, because it almost seems seizure-esque to me. Is that?
I mean, there are types of seizures, like focal seizures, that sometimes can cause just one body part, but it would be very rare. I mean, typically seizures will generalize, so I can't say that's a seizure.
But aren't there
it could be the stress.
many seizures like that, Dr. Siegel?
Well, I'm not a neurologist, and I don't think that necessarily looks like a seizure.
What would that be?
But I will say this.
Let's re-rack that. What do you think this is?
I'll tell you what I think it is. I think that we're seeing enough there, especially in someone who has a long medical history and who's approaching 70 years old, for me to be able to say here that both of our candidates need to release their medical information. Sean, the whole idea that we have to...
It looks like violent, out-of-control movements on her part.
And it could be, and I say could be, related to previous head trauma she had. It's possible. That's why I need to see the records. That's why a neurologist needs to come forward and give a press conference and say, this is what is going on with her. She may very well be completely fit, but we want to know.
All right, guys, good to see you both. Thank you. I hope I never have to see either one of you. Coming up, although I'd be grateful for your help. Rudy Giuliani fighting back against the liberal media's attempts to smear Donald Trump about his remarks over the Second Amendment and Second Amendment supporters. He'll be here with reaction, that and more tonight right here on
Power to keep her out of office. That's what he was talking about. We know Donald Trump is not particularly indirect. If Donald Trump was going to say something like that, he'd say something like that. I was there. I'd like the people at home to realize that the first time that any of us had any idea that that is the way it was interpreted is when the Clinton spin machine interpreted it that way, spun it out to a press that is willing to hit him every day, bang, 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 bang.
Now, that was former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani earlier today attacking the mainstream media for trying to smear Donald Trump about his comments on the Second Amendment and Second Amendment supporters. Earlier, I spoke with Mayor Giuliani about this and much more. Let's take a look. And joining us now, former New York City Mayor and Donald Trump supporter Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, what happened? I can see you. It looks like you got. What happened? Are you okay?
Well, I'd like to say I was attacked by the Clinton campaign, but that's not true. No, yeah. I got a cramp in my leg. I ran to the shower door. I hit the shower door. It happened about 3 days ago, and it's already been in the newspapers 4 or 5 times. I'm glad everyone's so concerned about my head.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure that really is concerned about your head. I mean, probably some on the left are actually happy about it. I get bruises from my martial arts training. It's like, good, I hope Hannity got hit hard, and it's all part of the training. All right, obviously, there is a movement now to hurt Donald Trump among Republicans. You got Susan Collins. You've got the Jeb Bushes of the world. You got the John Kasichs of the world, the Lindsey Grahams, the McCains, Ted Cruz. You know, and some of these guys all made promises. Oh, they'd support the nominee. Do you think this hurts Donald Trump, that his own party is sabotaging him? Some members of his party?
I don't think. I think it establishes Donald Trump as the candidate for everybody else, the candidate for the outsider. He is not part of the inside Washington machine, which happens to be functional and to some extent, we know, corrupt. And the American people are fed up with it. They're fed up with Washington. They think the country's headed in the wrong direction. There's a reason for that. It's because of the people who have been running the country. So Donald Trump is not a member of that club. He challenged that club and he defeated them. And I think there are a lot of Democrats, obviously, that feel that way. But there are a lot of Republicans that are part of that also. And what I think Donald Trump is able to be able to do for us, he's going to be able to make change. And they're afraid of change because, hey, they're doing pretty well the way things are right now. Unfortunately, the people around the rest of the country aren't doing that well. They don't have lobbyists to represent them. They don't have special interests to represent them. They're going to have Donald Trump to represent them. And I think every time one of these establishment guys comes out against them, it sort of makes his point and gets him 5 votes.
What do you make of the media in this election cycle? For example, Donald Trump was talking about people that value the Second Amendment, that they might be able to do something in terms of the voting.
Sean, that whole thing on the Second Amendment, I was there. I watched the speech. It was 1,000% clear exactly what Donald Trump meant. What Donald Trump meant was, very simply, you have the power, the political power, because of your strong belief in the Second Amendment, to make the change that's necessary. That's what he was talking about. There's no doubt about it. If you go look at the tape, and you go look at the reaction of the audience, you can see that. And this is exactly what I've been talking about and what Donald Trump has been talking about. This is why the system is rigged. The Clinton people take those words, they spin them, and then they have a whole bunch of acolytes out there.
Yeah.
They have a whole bunch of acolytes out there, and then the acolytes make a story that doesn't exist. What he was talking about was, and you know this is true, people who believe in the Second Amendment are very energized this year because Hillary Clinton is the worst possible candidate they could have on Second Amendment issues, and Donald Trump is probably the best possible candidate they could have on Second Amendment issues. So this is obviously an issue he's going to drive home strongly because it's going to bring out his base. But that's what he's talking about. He's talking about politics.
Yeah.
I don't know how they could possibly interpret it any other way. I don't know how a journalist can go to bed at night thinking they're honest if they accepted that spin. If they tried to spin that on me, I would laugh them out of the room.
And coming up, we need your help. Our question of the day is straight ahead.